In an explosive moment that shook late-night television and sent shockwaves through Hollywood, legendary actor Robert De Niro abruptly walked off the set of Bill Maher's show after a heated and unexpected confrontation that no one saw coming. Known for his serious demeanor and strong political opinions, De Niro was invited onto Real Time with Bill Maher to discuss his latest film and touch on the current political climate, a topic both he and Maher are famously passionate about. But what was supposed to be a fiery yet respectful exchange between two outspoken public figures turned into a battle of egos and ideologies that derailed the show entirely. From the very beginning of the segment, there was a strange energy in the air. Maher, who thrives on sarcasm and blunt political jabs, opened with a few jokes about Hollywood celebrities being out of touch with real America line of commentary that De Niro clearly didn't appreciate. His tight smile and curt nod gave the first indication that the actor wasn't amused. As Maher moved deeper into the interview, he began pressing De Niro on his famously aggressive public statements against former President Donald Trump. Maher challenged De Niro's rhetoric, suggesting that maybe shouting profanities at rallies and award shows wasn't the most productive way to engage in political discourse. De Niro, visibly annoyed, shot back that his words came from frustration, and that if Maher or anyone else had lived through what he had seen in his decades-long career, they'd understand the emotion behind his outrage. Ouch. Maher tried to lighten the mood by comparing celebrity activism to yelling from the Hollywood hills. But De Niro didn't take kindly to being lumped in with what he saw as performative elites. "I'm not just another actor with opinions," he said sharply. "I've lived this. I've fought for things I believe in." The tension escalated quickly as the conversation shifted from political philosophy to personal digs, with both men clearly trying to one-up each other in front of the live audience. The clash truly ignited when Maher suggested that perhaps De Niro's intense public outrage over Trump and other politicians did more harm than good, possibly turning away moderate voters and feeding into the liberal elite stereotype. De Niro leaned forward in his chair, eyes narrowed, and accused Maher of downplaying the real dangers that many communities face. "You sit here every week cracking jokes," De Niro said, "but some of us actually use our voices to do more than entertain." Maher, clearly irritated, snapped back that he too had taken risks to speak the truth, and that he wasn't some lightweight trying to play both sides. "You don't have a monopoly on outrage," he added. The audience, sensing the growing discomfort, fell into an uneasy silence. At this point, even Maher's crew could be seen shifting nervously off stage, unsure of whether this was brilliant live television or a PR disaster unfolding in real time. What happened next was one of the most shocking moments in the history of the show. Maher, smirking sarcastically, said, "Maybe if you spent less time yelling at the president and more time working on your last movie, it wouldn't have flopped." The jab was meant as a joke, but it hit De Niro like a punch. The actor's jaw clenched, and his entire demeanor shifted. "You don't know what the hell you're talking about," he said, with barely concealed rage. "Don't sit there and judge my work when all you do is talk. You couldn't act your way out of a paper bag." Gasps could be heard from the audience, some nervously laughing, unsure if this was real or scripted. Clearly not expecting such a strong response, raised his eyebrows and said, "All right, Bobby, maybe you need a nap." That sarcastic dismissal was the final straw. De Niro stood up, pulled off his microphone, and stared Maher down in a moment of pure live television intensity before walking off the set without another word. Chaos erupted behind the scenes as the producers scrambled to figure out what to do next. The cameras quickly cut to Maher's confused and slightly amused expression as he tried to make light of what had just happened. "Well, folks," he quipped awkwardly, "I guess that's all the time we had for Mr. De Niro." But even Maher's usual charm couldn't mask the reality that the moment was a complete train wreck. Sources from backstage later revealed that De Niro had been uneasy about doing the interview in the first place, only agreeing after being told the conversation would stay focused on his acting and advocacy work, not turn into a debate about the effectiveness of his political stance. Apparently, when De Niro realized the direction the interview was taking, he had whispered to his publicist off camera, "If he pushes again, I'm done." And true to his word, when Maher pushed too far, De Niro didn't hesitate to leave, *social. Media exploded within minutes of the broadcast. Hashtags like hashtag De Niro walks out and hashtag Maher meltdown started trending, with users furiously debating who was in the wrong. Some praised De Niro for standing up for his beliefs and refusing to let a talk show host mock his convictions. Others claimed he overreacted and proved Maher's point about celebrities being too sensitive. Hollywood insiders had mixed reactions, as well, with some studio execs expressing concern that De Niro's behavior might hurt the marketing of his new film. Meanwhile, comedians and fellow talk show hosts jumped on the moment, with many poking fun at Maher's inability to keep a guest from walking out live on air. Late-night talk shows thrive on viral moments. But this one didn't feel triumphant. It felt raw, uncomfortable, and deeply personal. It was no longer just a television segment. It had become a national talking point. As the media frenzy continued, both camps issued carefully worded statements. De Niro's team said he left the interview because of a disrespectful and misleading line of questioning, adding that he had not been informed in advance that the interview would veer into confrontational territory. Maher's camp, on the other hand, framed the incident as spirited conversation gone sideways, and insisted that nothing had been said that wasn't fair game. Behind the scenes, however, sources close to both parties reported that this incident may have caused a permanent rift between two previously respectful voices in the political and entertainment world. De Niro reportedly told friends that he would never do that show again, while Maher joked at a private after-party that some actors forget they're not actually the mob bosses they play on screen. The bitterness was real, and the fallout was only beginning to spread. In the days following the confrontation, analysts and critics across the political spectrum weighed in. Some conservative voices gleefully seized on the moment as proof that liberal elites can't handle criticism. Progressive commentators were divided. Some blamed Maher for baiting De Niro, while others accused De Niro of hurting his own credibility by walking out rather than defending his views with words. Film critics worried the moment might overshadow the release of De Niro's latest project, while others suggested it might actually boost interest among curious viewers. The entertainment industry was on high alert, with producers, directors, and agents reassessing how to handle high-profile talent and high-risk interviews. Suddenly, everyone was asking, can today's stars handle tough conversations without making it personal? Or has celebrity culture grown too fragile for real discourse? In any case, this wasn't going to blow over icily, adding to the complexity. It was revealed that De Niro and Maher had previously crossed paths at charity events and industry galas, where their interactions were polite but distant. One insider noted that there had always been philosophical friction between the two, De Niro more emotional and blunt, or more sarcastic and intellectual. What made this confrontation so powerful was not just the disagreement itself, but the symbolic nature of the clash, two men from the same ideological camp turning on each other over the right way to resist injustice. To some, it was a cautionary tale about how even allies can become adversaries when egos collide, and to others, it was an honest moment of two powerful voices refusing to back down from their beliefs. Either way, the moment resonated far beyond the studio. It sparked uncomfortable questions about media, politics, performance, and the growing tensions within the very communities that claim to fight for unity and truth. Now, as the dust begins to settle, the future of both men's reputations hangs in the balance. De Niro remains a respected icon of American cinema, but the walk-off has added a new, controversial chapter to his public image. Maher, who thrives on controversy, will likely absorb the fallout and move forward, but the question remains whether his approach still resonates in an age of growing cultural sensitivity. Fans of both men are divided, while industry insiders quietly admit that the rift is unlikely to be repaired. What happened that night wasn't just a celebrity disagreement. It was a raw, unscripted moment that captured a much deeper cultural divide. One between conviction and commentary, between expression and ego, and between two towering figures whose clash may have said more about the state of America than either of them intended. Whether it will fade into a footnote or be remembered as a defining rupture is up to the public now, but one thing is certain: When Robert De Niro walked off Bill Maher's show, he didn't just leave a set, he left a mark.